Hey Doug, my name is Neil. I'm with Dorkaholics.
Hi Neil, how's it going, man?
At Dorkaholics, we believe that there's a dork in everyone, and it's our job to bring that dork out into the world.
Aha.
So I wanted to get to know you a little bit better and ask what made you a dork growing up.
Well, in terms of with that, is that I don't even know, don't really use that word that often. What's the definition of
I don't know what the formal definition is. I just think
that?
a dork is kind of just someone that has something that they might be super interested in, maybe a little obsessed, that just makes them a fanatic that also brings them joy.
Okay, I mean, I think it's fair to say I'm absolutely a wildlife dog for sure. And effectively, I'm a field director, assistant producer. So they send me to the wildest corners of the world, leading a team to try and capture some of these animal behaviors. And yeah, I grew up, in the dirt, turning over stones, turning over logs, looking for all this different wildlife, all these different critters. And then actually, latterly in life, it was one of those things where I discovered photography, and it was the combination of photography and the love for wildlife which just opened up this whole world of wildlife filmmaking. And it was an amazing thing to discover because I never knew I had this side to me until I turned about 22. And then being able to be that person to bring wildlife to people and potentially inspire other people with wildlife has just been awesome. I've absolutely loved doing it for the past, decade, I can say.
You would say your fingerprints are all over every scene, every moment that we're witnessing in the series.
In the with the episodes that I'm involved with, absolutely, that's my speciality. I'm Yeah, I'm out in the field for weeks, months at a time, and I worked across two of these episodes, in real detail, and I had some wild encounters out there for sure.
Being that the series stars, I mean, is features commentary narration by Ryan Reynolds, did
Mhm.
you have to take that in mind? Because I just remember I've watched documentary series before. I've seen comedians provide narration before, but Ryan Reynolds is very distinct, and it popped out at me when we're seeing us meeting that frog that is father to over to almost 300 little tadpoles with 12
Yeah.
mothers, and the way they're going about that, but not just the narration, but visually. We see playtime with some censorship
Hmm. Hmm.
applied. Um,
So, yeah, I mean, the series itself, Ryan is totally integral right from the beginning. Every story that we pick is, based around everything that Ryan and Maximum Effort bring to this documentary. Because it's unlike any wildlife documentary that you've seen before. It's definitely edgier, it's bold, it's irreverent, it's a totally new take on wildlife. And Ryan and Maximum Effort are key right from the beginning. They've been there all the way through, and it evolves as the series has been made. So you go out there with a certain plan to film something, and then you the whole point is looking for those underdogs. Not necessarily the stereotypical stars that you see. We find them, we go out and film things which are sometimes surprising, and then through into the edit, and Ryan is viewing things and riffing, and he picks up on things which only he can do, and it's a totally unique look at the wildlife world for sure.
Oh wow. I really appreciate that explanation of things because I'm like, is he kind of writing the jokes and we're going out trying to look for the best shots to replicate that in wildlife? But wow, he's taking real raw wildlife and turning that into jokes that he's making.
Well, the nature of what we're trying to do, underdogs are the unsung heroes, the animals which haven't had the spotlight until now. And when you're looking for those types of stories, and you're looking into corners of the world or story or animals that haven't been focused on in the past, you naturally uncover new stories. And then when you actually go out and film those stories, because you're focusing on completely different behaviors than you would do normally, you come across surprising things. So even when we're going out there, we're reacting to amazing things that we weren't expecting to see. And then Ryan continues that evolution when he takes a completely new spin on something. And that's what makes this so different. as a series.
He's also citing like scientific biological phenomena, which I don't know if that's something he dabbles in his personal life, but is that is there individuals on your team who also bring that knowledge to help you understand the context of what you're filming?
Absolutely. So, we everything is factually correct and accurate. So everything that we're filming happens in the wild, and you can't go and film these things. You can't plan or prep a shoot and take a team to the edge of the world without knowing scientifically what you're going to film, the dates. And it's a massive combination of science and filmmaking. We were filming glowworms in New Zealand, and to film the glowworms in New Zealand, you have to travel underground for kilometers, and you're in waist deep water, squeezing through cracks and under rocky ledges. And you've got to take a team of 4 people into the darkness with all the equipment, and you're filming in pitch black. And one of the things you learn by talking to scientists on the ground is that if you turn on any lights, the glowworms will turn off their bioluminescence because they hunt via bioluminescence. And when we were out there, we figured out, by working with the scientists on the ground, that if we did put in some light that was a similar frequency to the bioluminescence that the glowworms were emitting, they wouldn't turn off their lights. So we were able to kind of have this evolution of science out in the field, working with the filmmakers. Yeah, it was great. But there's a whole raft of research that goes into every single sequence.
I want to touch on the dangers because I think the
Mhm.
first time out watching the series, I was like, okay, we're looking at like creepy crawlers, small creatures, the honey badger. That scene, I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad Ryan prefaces by saying, don't worry, he's fine at the end.
It's always good to do that, and that is it's a legendary moment. And that is, you know, the wild moments that we do see and that we can bring to screens now. But with regards to dangers, I mean, we filmed for the Terrible Parents episode. We wanted to film a barnacle goose pair raising their chicks. They decide to raise their chicks on a 500-foot sheer cliff face in Arctic Greenland, on a bare, rocky ledge. It's absolutely wild. The only way to get there was to get to a remote part of Greenland, get a helicopter with the crew and all the kit underslung to this remote valley, get dropped off there, and then you're there for 3 weeks. And then you find the barnacle geese. To film the barnacle geese and be on their level, which is key to getting an immersive story, we hired a crew who had mountain experience. They then set up all the ropes. We then went down the cliff face, took the jib, took the cameras, took everything down onto the cliff, and we're roped in and we're 30 centimeters from a 400-foot drop. And one of the days we were filming our barnacle geese, mum and dad, raising their chicks, or they were eggs at this point. And, it's a pretty standard day. It was turning from winter to summer or winter to spring. So it's getting a little bit warmer, getting to the end of that particular filming day. And we heard thunder. We thought, what? Thunder? It seems to be a relatively clear day. Then the noise got louder and louder, and we realized actually it was rockfall, it was an avalanche. And the camera operator responded so quickly, and he whipped the camera around as a huge avalanche, an ice dam had burst at the top of the mountain with the warming weather. And it careered down the valley and smashed right past the barnacle goose nest that we were filming. And you're talking about 18-foot wall of debris, rocks, ice, water, snow, everything. And it's the first time that's ever been captured, an avalanche next to these particular animals. Add in the fact that that was also an area which we were scouting, a week prior, but we decided that it wasn't an appropriate place for filming due to dangers, and so we moved to this different part of the cliff face. But it's the wildest thing I've ever experienced, and it's a filming first.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
what are some other memorable moments that that you walked home with, hopefully unscathed?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the glowworms again was pretty memorable. You know, you it's a it's a predatory larval form of the fungus gnat, and it's a little worm the size of half a matchstick, which lives in these underground caves in New Zealand, and they create a mucus hammock and they dangle slime threads from these hammocks, and then they glow via bioluminescence, and attract flies into their threads and eat them. But these glowworms gather in the thousands. And so we've been traveling down this tunnel, squeezing through these gaps, waist deep water, pitch black. And you go from a side tunnel into the main cavern, and this huge cavern opens up, and it's like walking out into the night sky. The whole cave ceiling and walls are covered in twinkling lights, and it genuinely looks like you're looking up at a starry night. And I would say that bioluminescence, that spectacle, is probably the coolest wildlife spectacle I've ever seen. It was awesome. So that was an amazing experience.
Wow. I mean, you're on cliffs, you're in the water, you're outdoors, Mother Nature.
Mhm.
Um, like sounds like you should be part of the Mission Impossible team.
Well, we've used some kit which is very similar to that. For the Sexy Beasts episode, we one of the things you want to do with wildlife, you want to put cameras in places where you've been unable to put them before. And we wanted to film a sneaky young elephant seal male sneaking through a harem of females without being spotted by the larger bull. And so to do that and do it, in the most appropriate way and the most immersive way, we used an Agito buggy, which is effectively a massive remote control car. We then took, and it's electric, so it's silent. We then took a motorized gimbal with our cine camera in it, which you normally see slung underneath a helicopter. We took it off that, put it onto this remote control buggy. So from around 200 meters away, we can control this motorized gimbal weaving through the harem of females. And it is an amazing bit of kit. It looks like it should be on Mars. And it really does make you feel like you are that sneaky male sneaking through the harem. And so some of the tech that we're using is epic. Yeah.
What are some things that you've learned just working on this project that hopefully you'll carry into other works with National Geographic or other documentary series, of course, involving wildlife?
Mhm. Um, I would say, always keep, looking at things in different ways. I've been working in wildlife TV for a decade, and we're looking at these stories in a completely different way, a different dynamic. And so you think you know everything, but you don't. There's always learning to be done, and that, to kind of push the limits, push the boundaries of wildlife filmmaking. And in doing so, you can create something you didn't even know existed. We had plans to go film things, but because we were pushing the boundaries of wildlife filmmaking and storytelling together, we filmed things, which are completely new. And so I would say, yeah, just keep pushing the boundaries.
Thank you so much for your time today, Doug. I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of Underdogs on June 15th.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Dale. I really appreciated your questions. Really, really good questions, man.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries, no worries.